Shalom Israel, Kalalal Yamla, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, which is Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim pushing this truth sincerely. To the men, women, and children that believe and call upon the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Shalom to you as well. Alright, this is a brother Kazak from GMS Jamaica. This will be a new channel, the first video on the new channel. Hopefully we can get it filled up with some edifying content. Today's lesson is coming from Daniel 2, and concerning the state of the world right now, the state of this kingdom or this empire we are living in, we are live under, right? So without further ado, this is Daniel 2 and verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and that the stone smote the image. The stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven hath he given into thine hand, and he made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. Alright. And for clarification, so like I forgot to say earlier, this is the obviously, now you see it, but this is the dream where Daniel was interpreting for Nebuchadnezzar, right? The dream that he had, right? He couldn't remember the dream, so he ordered the wise men around him to figure out what the dream was and tell him the interpretation. And basically, this is what Daniel do. Alright, he might tell him what him dream say, and he might tell him what the dream mean. Right, so him go ahead and tell him said that him, right, the kingdom of Babylon is the head of gold. Alright, and after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and that second kingdom, right, the silver, that was the kingdom of Medes and Persia. Seen? The third kingdom of brass, it would be the kingdom of Greece, right? And another third kingdom of brass, which shall be a rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And that iron, that those legs of iron, right, is referring to the kingdom of Rome, right, the Roman Empire, basically. Verse 41, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Right, now this last kingdom, of clay and iron, is the second coming of the Roman Empire, or a revision, the revised Roman Empire. Right, so we're basically still living under the Roman Empire, right, which especially in America, then basically it is basically run as how Rome is run politically and also economically as well. See? Um, and whereas those size the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, speaking of the military, right? And that's where NATO comes in. See? Right? The military might of the new empire. It says, for as much as thou size iron mixed with my clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Right? And that stone cut out with hands is Yahushai, that's coming back to destroy all these kingdoms, erase them totally. You know what I mean? And then and that same stone turned into a great mountain, right, which is referring to the kingdom of Israel, which basically shall rule the earth forever, and there shall be no other kingdom coming up after the kingdom of Israel is set up. Alright, so now we're gonna jump to a quick Google search I'm gonna do concerning recent activities. America and NATO divided. Uh, According to Google's AI overview, as of January 2026, the alliance between the United States and NATO is experiencing significant renewed strains, right? And there's always been strains and concerns when it pertains to America and NATO. Because remember, at one point, Donald Trump say, "Oh look, America is spending too much money, right, among NATO, whereas other NATO members not spend as much money, right? Them not do as much as where America do. So, and because them basically are the biggest and the baddest within NATO, them decides, yo, look, we are gonna start call the shots and we're gonna just do things how best it benefit us or suit us. Right? That's basically what Donald Trump are doing. He basically put America first. You know what I mean? Renewed strains driven largely by intense dispute over U.S. efforts to take control of Greenland. Right? And this is the new um, the new the latest thing I should say, where a cause that strain and that rift between NATO and America. See? Um, Alright, so let's go back. Driven larger by intense disputes over US efforts to take control of Greenland and associated threats of tariffs. Right? These actions have created a profound public rift between Washington and European allies. Alright. Key factors are the Greenland confrontation. President Trump's push to acquire Greenland, including threats of military force and imposing tariffs on NATO allies who oppose the move. Right, a few European nations actually to oppose, Trump's taking over Greenland or invading Greenland. Right, and in response they sent a little military presence over in Greenland, and what happened was some of them actually pulled back, and returned the troops that them sent back home, because Trump threatened tariffs, right? 10% tariffs on goods coming from these countries. I don't remember exactly the names, but I have to look them up. But um, they were threatened with tariffs. Germany is one, Denmark is one, you know what I mean? And right, 10% tariffs come in February 1st, and then in June it would go up to around 25% tariff. You know what I mean? And this threat, them basically take it serious and they end up pulling out them troops. See? Um, Imposing tariffs on NATO allies who oppose the move has caused deep division, right? And that made the thing even further. Take the premiums even further. Right? Senators have criticized this as a disastrous policy that incubates US ties with NATO. Alright, doubts on Article 5. Rhetoric from the US has created uncertainty about whether the US would honor its commitment to the Collective Defense Clause, which suggests that protection depends on whether allies are viewed as reliable. Right. So this clause is basically if any NATO member is attacked by anybody at all outside of NATO, basically, you know, because obviously it's an alliance, so NATO members should not threaten or attack other NATO members, right? Obviously. So anything outside of NATO, you know, pose a threat, you know, America would basically come to them aid, right? Or all NATO nations would basically come to the aid. Now America is saying that, look, you have to be reliable for us to even think about defending you or coming to your aid. You know what I mean? And by reliable, they mean, would you be able to defend America, or would you be able? Are you guys spending as much as America in terms of the NATO fund, whatever they call it? You know what I mean? Next point, America first pivot. As I said, all our Trump do basically my push America first. Seen, and a lot of the other countries them not like this, because this is supposed to be a union, right? This is supposed to be an alliance, right? All for one, one for all. But no, what them do is basically what the flip side, one for all for one, yeah, all for one, them basically depend. See, the US has signaled a shift away from being the primary security provider for Europe, urging allies to take responsibility for their own defense while the US focuses elsewhere. Right? Another key point, European search for independence. In response to the perceived unreliability of the US security guarantee, some European leaders, such as Germany's Friedrich Merz, have stated that Europe must achieve independence and reshape NATO to function more independently. Right? So you know what that means? Them have to go back to the drawing board and set up NATO a way where America is not involved. See, and once America is not involved, then you know exactly what going to take place. See, another prophecy going to get fulfilled. This is the book of Obadiah over there, right? So, yeah, here we go. Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right, so this prophecy, right, what's happening, if you say, lead up to that exact prophecy. You know what I mean? Where the men of his confederacy, the same NATO and EU allies of America, are going to turn against America, right? And when it finally comes down to the final showdown, We are in the valley of Jehoshaphat. You know what I mean? These nations are going to turn against America. And according to prophecy, them are going to shoot um, nuclear missiles on America, yo. America are gonna get destroyed, wipe off of the map, off of the face of the earth. See? Alright. Let's see. Wait. So like I'm trying to remember the wording for the principle of uh, oh yeah. Revelation 17 and 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right? The beast being NATO and the EU, right? And the 10 horns would be basically the ruling nations under the EU and the NATO, right? Now, the founding, I should say, 10 horns, 16, yeah. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. All right, America is that whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. You know what I mean? So that's the prophecy. Yeah? America is gonna be destroyed by the same nations that them in an alliance with. You know what I mean? And ultimately, it is it is one kingdom destroying itself. You know what I mean? Because really and truly, all of these nations, these founding nations of the NATO and the EU are all Edomites. Yeah, you see me? Yeah, yeah. If not all, are Edomites, right? And this thing is really all about Esau and Jacob. You know what I mean? Israel and Edom. Yeah. So the most I go set it away where Edom basically destroy Edom. You know what I mean? And remove them basically are go implode, destroy themselves from within. Or destroy them own kingdom from within. See? And them are gonna get help because the Lord Yahweh Shai go come in as well. Along with the men, right? And him a go destroy as well. You see me? Him a come add fire to the fire we already are go be burning. But yeah, hopefully this lesson is edifying. I was edifying. Um, Went on a little longer than we did want it to be, but again, I really hope that it is edifying. Shalom to Israel again. And remember, this is a new channel, so subscribe and be edified.